Good evening. Welcome to the Monday, January 19th, 2026 regular council session for Strathroy-Caradoc. The municipality of Strathroy-Caradoc acknowledges that it is located on Treaty 21 territory. We are thankful for the generations of people who have taken care of this land, including the Chippewa of the Thames First Nation, Munsee Delaware First Nation, and Oneida Nation of the Thames. Our vision statement is Strathroy-Caradoc envisions a dynamic community where residents thrive in a sustainable, inclusive, and prosperous environment. We aspire to be a model of effective governance and community engagement, setting the standard for excellence in our programs and services. Our mission statement is to provide innovative and up-to-date services, engage in proactive planning for the future, facilitate partnerships, and advance community goals to create a vibrant and sustainable future for all Strathroy-Caradoc. Roll call. Everybody is in attendance. The mayor and Councillor Hippel are joining us virtually. Call the meeting to order and approval of the agenda. Recommendation, January 19, 2026 regular council meeting agenda be approved as circulated. Somebody make the motion. Councillor Kennis, seconded by Councillor Pelkman. Thank you very much. All in favor? And when I call, could you please put your hands up so I could see if everybody did there, but throughout the meeting, hands up for the two of them, that'd be great, thank you. Declaration of pecuniary interests. I see none. We're gonna move directly into an in-camera matter. One second. Recommendation is that council may move into closed session for the purposes of discussing the following. 2 items in accordance with council's procedure bylaw to approve an in-camera minute meetings of November 24, 2025, December 1, 2025. And second, 1 item pursuant to section 239 sub 2 clause B of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended regarding personnel matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. Somebody to make that motion, please. Councillor Kennis, seconded Councillor Brennan. All in favor? That carries. Thank you. seconds.
interpreted
Thank you.
no.
10 seconds. Thank you. Welcome back. I appreciate the indulgence of staff and our guests this evening in the room. Closed session adjourned at 6:28 p.m. and open session resumed. Is that a motion I need? Yeah. Okay. So a motion that closed adjourned, and we reopen at 6:30 p.m. Councillor Pelkman, Councillor Derbyshire, thank you all in favor. That carries. Council met in closed session to consider matters that is permitted to do so under the Municipal Act and is listed on tonight's council agenda. The following items were considered during the closed session. One item in accordance with council's procedure bylaw, bracket, to approve in-camera meeting minutes of November 24, 2025 and December 1, 2025, close brackets. The meeting minutes were approved. One item pursuant to section 239 sub 2 clause B of the Municipal Act 2001 regarding personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal employees. Council received a verbal report. No direction was given to staff. We did that. Delegations, we move to item 7? Correct, great. This evening we have 4 delegations. Actually, sorry, we have 3. First off, at 7:1, we have MNP presentation on the 2025 audit service plan. And presenting that this evening is, there. Step forward. Are you aware? You just come up to the podium and it's obviously working. That's great.
Okay.
So I'll let you introduce yourself since I don't have that in front of me. So if you can introduce yourself and then lead us through your presentation, that'd be amazing. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So my name is Ashley Dodoni, the audit partner at MNP, and Naila Silkik, the manager on the file, is here as well. So we are going to walk you through our audit service plan for the December 31st, 2025 year-end audit that is coming up shortly. So this is year 2 for us, so very exciting. So when we get the presentation there up on screen, just coming up, I'll have you, Bill, just go to the topics for discussion, so page 5. And the audit service plan was included in the agenda package for tonight as well. So in terms of the audit or topics for discussion there, so I will refer you as well to Appendix B. But at a high level, there are some items that we want to ensure we have open two-way communication with the committee and management. So items there would be key business changes, operations developments, business plans and strategies, management oversight, any fraud that you become aware of, and any specific needs as well. So we do work with management to ensure these items are incorporated into our procedures, and would want to ensure that any council members that would like to bring anything forward to us as well are able to do so. So all contact information is in the package as well. The next item there is our risk assessment. So our audit is a risk-based audit, and we focus on our procedures on those areas where we have assessed a heightened risk. So 2 areas where we have significant risk is related to management override of controls. So management is in a unique position to have full access to the accounting system. So we recognize that and do tailored procedures to ensure that there's nothing untoward happening in that area as well. On the next page, we have user charges. So from a revenue recognition perspective, this is an area that we have targeted as a significant risk. And as such, we would perform procedures to ensure everything is recorded in accordance with the revenue recognition policy. The next item there is our key milestones. So we have our presentation here tonight. We will begin our field work in April with a target of draft statements for June. I'll pass it over to Naila now to go through our audit process.
Thanks, Ashley. So this page highlights high level kind of what our audit process is. Ashley did mention a little bit of it, but it is a risk-based audit, and so we focus and tailor our procedures to the municipality as well as those significant risks that we have identified. There's also additional information in Appendix A for your light reading. On the next slide here, we talk about materiality. So I'm actually going to get Bill to flip one more slide as well. So materiality, the concept, it's our threshold that we base our audit opinion on. We use a threshold, a percentage of revenues. So on the next slide, we have our planning materiality, which is set at 2.4 million, which is consistent with the prior final materiality. This figure will be updated once we do get the year-end figures and we begin our audit field work. The next slide here, so because the municipality statements are consolidated with a few different entities, we do have to get an understanding of these entities, and we've identified two here that are the larger entities in the municipality statements and the tailored procedures that we will do to gain comfort over those components. For the December 2025 audit, we are planning to place a low reliance on the municipality's control, which is consistent with the prior year audit. So this level of reliance will involve mainly substantive tested details. The next slide here, we have our audit team. So with you tonight here, Ashley and myself. We also have Julia and Seth, who were part of the audit last year as well, who will be helping out during our fieldwork procedures. And this slide here just outlines the fees for the audit, which is consistent with the RFP that was issued, or the quote that we have with the municipality. I'll pass it back to Ashley to wrap things up.
So auditor independence, very important to our procedures. So we do report to you here, we are independent for our procedures. We'll issue a letter at the end as well, and ensure we remain independent throughout our work. So just some insights we wanted to leave you with, and we'll provide other relevant insights as they come up as well, so you have access. A couple here that we've pulled is just around cybersecurity and also ESG, as those are kind of hot topics in the public sector space right now. Happy to answer any questions around those or provide additional information as they come, and provide you with the different materials as well as they become relevant. There hasn't been any significant changes to the reporting standards this year in terms of public sector, so no big changes to take into account for this year as well for the audit. So that concludes our presentation, just kind of a high-level walkthrough of the audit service plan itself, and we'll leave you with the appendices for review. Happy to have any questions if there is any.
Questions from council? Councillor Wilsey.
My questions mostly come around materiality. So I was doing a little bit of research on materiality, because to me, when I looked at that 2.4 million, that's 10% of our tax. And when I looked at the definition, it's of materiality, the one that I came up with, and I'm paraphrasing a bit, is the level of money where if a mistake up to that point was caught, it wouldn't matter to the board or to the corporation, which I think is pretty consistent. If I'm wrong, you can correct me on that. But that number to me seems really high. And then I did a little bit of research into some other public organizations and municipalities, and I found that typically it's like 1 to 2% of our total revenues is what a materiality would be, and our revenues are in the low 50 million. So if you take 1 to 2% of that, that would come up somewhere around the 1 to 1.5 million range. This is significantly higher. And in addition to that, when I look at the audit that you did last year, one of the issues that we had was an issue you pointed out with the asset management plan and amortization, which was like a $1.7 million-ish correction. Now, that same mistake was just made on a debt schedule that was presented to us last week. So with that mistake being found in the last audit, still being present on current documents, and the materiality being higher, is there any thought, or is there a way that we could reduce that materiality, or would we have to make a motion to bring that down if council was willing to that? Or I guess maybe how you came up with that one, when it seems to be it's double the standard that I can find publicly with other similar municipalities.
Yeah, so every firm would have their methodology in terms of the percentage of revenue that's used. So our calculation is within our firm's methodology for that piece of it. And I did want to just highlight too, any misstatements that we're coming across would be presented. It's not like, nothing kind of mattered to that point. It would definitely be presented. You are correct in saying that's the threshold upon which we could give a clean opinion and kind of evaluate that piece of it too. But rest assured, any items that are uncovered would be brought forward as an item too, and then adjustments around there would be a discussion coming forward as well.
Follow
And I guess maybe this is a question for council. Like, just because we found a materiality issue that was higher than, it was well over 1.5 million. And I believe the previous materialities we had were somewhere around that 1 to 1.2 million with our previous auditor. Before I make a motion, I just want to see if there's an appetite from council, if they'd be willing to make this tighter.
Well, I'll just stop for a moment. I'm procedurally, we're receiving a presentation right now. So I think coming out of the presentation, Councillor, if then you want to make a motion, you could file that motion and it could be discussed at a follow-up meeting. But to discuss that in the midst of a presentation, I don't believe is the correct procedure.
That's no problem. I'll put in a motion for later then.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Councillor Palmer.
I just want to paraphrase back to you so I understand. So if something is over that 2.5 million mark, it would then be material, and you would then have a statement or a recommendation based on that, and anything less than that would be noted, but not necessarily commented on. Is that correct?
In terms of our report, yes. So if anything over that, our report would be impacted in that we couldn't give a clean opinion that the financial statements are fairly presented unless there was an adjustment to correct those items noted. Under that, it would be noted, signed off by management. We'd recommend a correction, but if no corrections went forward, under that threshold, we would still be able to provide a clean opinion on the report.
Any further questions? Councillor Kennedy.
I hate to bring this up at this point, but I believe that Councillor Wilsey has again made a kind of an accusation of deception or that incorrect numbers were provided to council, and I just don't think that's appropriate.
Okay, Councillor Wilsey, but let's not get into a debate.
No, I was good. My numbers are just from the previous audit report, and then if I don't think that I've misstated. I didn't say anyone was trying to hide anything. I talked about a report that came out and information that was in the report. I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I don't know what the,
Okay, so
I feel like I'm being attacked now at this point.
okay, so your comments were based upon the 2024 audit.
Yes.
That's what you're, okay.
There was a $1.7 million charge of materiality of that was in the materiality report of the audit report from MMP last year that said the asset management plan had misclassified amortizations of specific items, and the correction of that was approximately a $1.7 million correction. My whole point that I was bringing up tonight is I believe, from my recollection, that our BDO materiality was somewhere in the 900 to 1.2 million. Okay, and then that correction on the asset management plan was around 1.7, which is over our previous audit threshold, but under this one. And that those same issues were also made on the debt schedule with the budget that we had last week. Okay. So it's all just referencing documents where similar mistakes have been made. Okay.
So we've allowed you to give a clarifying statement. Probably stuff you would want to comment about when you make a motion, should you make a motion in the future, as to why that motion is being brought forward. Okay, so we have the presentation. Thank you very much, ladies. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
To the chair, I just want to clarify, it's not our asset management plan that's 1.7. It's our capital assets, and it's a valuation of the roads, which is being corrected for the 25 audit.
Thank you. Okay, so we next have 7.2. Mr. Is it Lee? Is that how I pronounce Mr.?
Excuse me?
Yes, L-I-U?
L-I-U, Lou?
Lou?
Yes.
Sorry, I wasn't sure if I pronounced the U or the I, so I guessed and I guessed wrong.
No,
But yes, sir. Come on up to the podium. So for a delegation, you have 5 minutes. Okay. And I see you have a few documents, so I will just start off saying that the documents have been properly received by council. They've had an opportunity to review those documents, and this is your opportunity to take 5 minutes to comment upon those documents, okay?
Okay.
At about 4.5 minutes, or if you're still speaking, I will let you know that you have 30 seconds left to go.
Okay, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good
evening, Your Worship and members of the council. My name is Elmer. I'm here today to present a modernized winter maintenance strategy for Strathroy-Caradoc that prioritizes road safety, environmental health, and resident welfare. Slide. So, the infrastructure challenge. We're currently using sodium chloride salt pre-wetting with master melt. Master melt does help the salts work at a lower temperature, but it is a reactive tool. We are needing something that's proactive, and a direct liquid application would help that. Switching to a DLA, direct liquid application focused product, can reduce salt usage by an additional 10 to 15%. When we apply a direct liquid application, we stop the ice from bonding to the road. It's the difference between melting a frozen block of ice and preventing ice from ever forming. So we got 440 kilometers of roads and sidewalks. Direct liquid application works to -32, whereas sodium chloride works to -10. And with precision application, there's zero waste with direct liquid application. This slide actually shows the amount of product needed and its effectiveness throughout the temperature, with magnesium chloride working for 3 days on -32 Celsius, whereas sodium chloride works at around -10 to -15 for around 24 hours. Magnesium direct liquid application is more environmentally friendly, as magnesium is needed for vegetation to thrive, where calcium chloride kills vegetation. It's a friendlier alternative for our freshwater ecosystem and is less harmful than salt. For those that have dogs, we have all seen our dogs lift their paws in pain as their paws are being burnt. The current sodium chloride salts generate heat when wet and cause the burning. And also for those that like to lick the snow and ice, there's a mouth ulcer risk as well. With magnesium, there is a significant lower risk. In terms of equipment and infrastructure protection, road salt is highly corrosive to our vehicles, causing rust. We currently pre-wet our salt with master melt that has a high percentage of calcium chloride, which is even more corrosive than sodium chloride. If we make the switch to a direct liquid application, it has a corrosion inhibitor tested to be 70% less corrosive than salt. We currently do not track the damages of how our rock salts damage concrete, but know that the freeze-thaw cycles damage our concrete. Sodium chloride is highly corrosive and damages concrete's internal pressures, accelerating freeze-thaw damage. On time and labor savings, this is where we get the backup from our surrounding city.
Keep going, that's
Sorry?
not for you. Sorry, my phone was making comment. You keep going.
That's okay. So, there's faster bare pavement, there's pavement recovery, 3 days of extended window, reduced overtime. So speaking with Stephen Davidson, operation analyst of the city of Waterloo, it has helped give more time for trucks to address the snow or ice before it bonds to the road. Tom Kelly, superintendent of public works for the city of Sarnia, noticed less trips to get the roads and streets to bare pavement. Brad Hutchinson, superintendent of the county of Wellington, mentioned how DLA reduced the amount of passes and amount of material used. The driveway factor and resident benefits. As we all know, one of the thorns in our backs is getting the windrow effect. And the windrow effect is the residual left from the snowplows. In some municipalities, they use snow gates, and some cities send a smaller machine to remove the ridge after the main plow has passed. If we are not entertaining those paths, at least the windrow effect leaves it more soft and easier to shovel. So it ends the ice wall, softer windrows, it makes it easier to clean, and and there's faster recovery. Plows clear the networks 20 to 30% faster because snow doesn't pack.
30 seconds.
Okay. Our neighboring cities are utilizing a more progressive way of handling winter maintenance. The city of Waterloo, city of Sarnia, Brantford, Wellington are just some of the neighboring cities integrating a direct liquid application have adopted a progressive way of road and sidewalk safety. My recommendation is that the municipality of Strathroy-Caradoc adopt a direct liquid application strategy for the 2026 winter season. If the city needs to do a small trial testing, I recommend starting with the sidewalks of downtown, the downtown bridge, and the main roads. If we were to look at a small trial, we can retrofit existing trucks with a sprayer that would cost approximately $5,000 that holds 1,000 liters. For a long-term solution, if we were to commit like the other cities had, a retrofit sprayer would cost $25,000. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? Councillor Cameron?
Director Littleborn, how many pieces of equipment do we have for snow removal that would have to be converted to do this?
So Councillor, through the chair to Councillor Palmer, that would be a better question for Director Ortiz.
Thank you.
Director Ortiz.
Thank you. Through the chair to Councillor Palmer. So we have 10 plows currently. So if we were to consider an approach where, so to take a step back, I don't think we would consider an approach which would abolish. We currently use a sand-salt mixture, so 75% sand, 25% salt, sodium chloride. We would not be looking at getting away from that application. So we would be looking at equipment that would allow us to apply liquid brine in advance of the storm. So we'd probably be looking at retrofitting or purchasing new equipment, likely 1 to 2 new trucks, or retrofitting existing trucks to allow us to do that. We're pretty consistent with other municipalities in southwestern Ontario in applying rock salt and a sand mixture.
Thank you. I think Councillor Derbyshire had his hand up. Was that correct? Go ahead.
Through you to the presenter. I see here on our thing it says our crews use one method. Do you offer this service?
I personally,
Or no, you personally don't?
I personally don't offer
Alright.
this service though.
I just didn't know if this was, whether you just sold the product, presented the product, or were trying to get us to switch.
No, just a citizen.
Okay.
Councillor Buckland?
Yes, thank you. So I did a little bit of research on my own to see what the benefits would be, and my take on it is it's a completely different strategy than what we currently use. So, you know, we're almost in a reactive situation where it starts to snow and then we put salt down. I know sometimes we put salt down proactively, but if there's enough traffic on there, then the cars kick it all off the road and you kind of wasted your salt, which I think is kind of your point.
Exactly.
Whereas with the brine or liquid application, you're doing it in advance of the snow, and then you just have the plows going over to remove the snow.
Exactly.
Right. So it's if in terms of looking at changing systems, you're a number of budget cycles from doing that. So first of all, you'd have to purchase the equipment, because from the gist of what I got, you wouldn't be using the existing plows and vehicles to apply the brine. You'd probably use something different. And then there's the labor cost in adjusting how we would deploy our people. So not saying I'm not opposed to looking at this. I think it's a long-term strategy to switch. It's not something that you can do quickly. From the examples that I saw on the internet, there are municipalities that are saving money doing it, though none of them talked about their labor costs. They only strictly talked about the amount of salt that they're purchasing. So anyways, that's what I came up with.
Yeah, most cities are.
Well, the presentation's done, so Yeah, you actually, you can grab a seat if you
Sure.
like. It's at council now. Is there any other questions of council or comments? None? Thank you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Liu. Next, we have a delegation from Maggie Toplack on paving of Mallard Road.
Good evening, members of council. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Now that I turned my microphone on, you can actually hear me.
Okay, wonderful. Good evening, everybody. My name is Maggie Toplack, and I'm the daughter of Vera Toplack, who lives on Mallard Road. And I just want to thank council for allowing me to make this deputation this evening at your meeting. Strathroy is my hometown, so it's a real pleasure presenting to all of you. So I see that the materials in my submissions have been included with your council materials, and so I'm not going to go through all the details that I submitted in this correspondence. But last summer, we submitted a request for information to the township regarding any documentation that's considered the paving of Mallard Road, which I can actually, if it would be helpful, I see I have the ability to share. I can show everyone the road in question, if everybody can see the screen here. So this is Mallard Road right here, and it's a throughway road that connects Century Drive and Old Drive. And based on the research that we did, the staff sent the road management studies from 2015 and 2024. And in 2015, it was indicated that Mallard Road was not going to be paved at least until after 2025. And in the 2024 road management study, they indicated that they didn't analyze any of the gravel roads. And in this area, Mallard Road is the only road that's actually not paved in this area. The dead-end roads and all of the other through roads, such as Springwell Drive, which I've marked in blue, they've all been paved. And since they didn't examine the road traffic in 2024, we don't actually have an estimate of how much traffic goes across, but at least in the 2015 report, it was between 0 and 49 vehicles. And my mom is present there today, who lives on this road, and we can attest to the fact that this road is in fact used as a commuter road to connect Century and Old Drive, and people travel quite quickly, and it's really probably not suitable as a gravel road given how much it is used. And so I just wanted to bring this to the attention of council, just because based on these road reports, it doesn't seem to be on the radar to be published, and so, or to be, not published, to be paved. So I would just like to submit this request and hope that you would accept my deputation, my email, and the materials I submitted, refer them to staff, and maybe hopefully add it to the tar and chip program this year of 2026. When we reviewed the capital projects budget spreadsheet for this year, we found out that the township does have available $840,000 to contribute to the tar and chip program, so we're hoping that this road might be considered as part of that submission. And I'd be happy to answer any questions from council or anyone at the council meeting.
Thank you. So I will tell you that this evening we do have Director Ortiz with us. He is Director of Roads and Infrastructure. There's a long title. I won't go through it all, but he has heard your request, so I'm quite certain that he will be considering the delegation, as will all of council, but I will leave it to council if you have any questions. Councillor Wilsey.
Through the chair to Director Ortiz, is there a threshold or a marker of where a certain number of car traffic, I know there's a marker for where a road has to be or can be taken up by the county and uploaded. Is there a threshold or a number that we'd like to see for traffic on a road in a given day where we would consider converting a road from gravel to tar and chip?
Is this a question for me or someone else?
It's been directed to the Director, Mr. Ortiz.
Yeah, thank you. And through the chair to Councillor Wilsey to answer your question. We don't have a formal gravel conversion policy in place. I did note that through I believe the FOI, the request for freedom of information. Ms. Toplak included a draft version as part of her submission. We don't have a formal policy as of today. If we were to put a number forward, it would probably be in the order of around 300 cars per day, give or take. But as of now, we don't have a formal number.
Councillor Peltman?
Yes, thank you. I'm sure we all remember that in the last couple of years, we've had the bridge closed just before Mount Bridges, and then Adelaide Road was closed for a good portion of the year, summer this year. So if we were to use any numbers, I would want us to use new numbers, not anything that's been done in the last few years, because you had McAvoy before that. And I myself have driven down Mallard Road to get around the construction, so I understand her issue. But I would want, now that all that construction is done, my guess is that people will stop using Mallard Road because it won't be faster for them to get around the construction. And the other point that I would make is, if speed is your concern, it's going to be a lot worse once it's tar and chip than gravel. Gravel actually slows them down. So if it were my choice, I would probably leave Mallard Road the way it is. There would be other roads that I would tar and chip before Mallard Road. But if we are to analyze it, then I would want to use new numbers now that all the construction is done.
Councillor Derbyshire?
Thank you, and I think we'll probably have this debate when we get down to chip and tar and what we're doing, but from my kind of standpoint on just looking at it from my farmer brain, says this is the only gravel road out in the middle of all asphalt, and it's a stretch of maybe half a kilometer. You should chip and tar it so that you're not driving this machine over there to grade half a kilometer to then drive all the way back to the other side of the municipality. And I realize it is closer to the garage per se, but I do believe every road around there has now been chip and tarred and finished off, so you're really going over there to just simply grade one side road, really. It isn't even a whole concession. So that would be my reasoning there. It doesn't really, it's not connected to anything else anymore. It's an island on its own, so, you know, chip and tar it, be done with it. And, you know, the grader doesn't have to head in that direction and, you know, basically lose half a day for half a kilometer. So that would be my point on it.
Nothing further? I will thank you, Mrs. Toplak, for your delegation. It's been heard, as you can see, and considered by council, and I'm sure we'll be re-examining this as the year moves forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Next on the agenda is 7.4, community petition for indoor roller rink. Nobody's presenting on this. We just receive it for information. So it's properly posted before you for your consideration and information. 8.1, did you want a motion? Oh, can we have a motion then to receive 7.4 for information? Councillor Derbyshire, Councillor Peltman, all in favor?
I just wanted to comment on, if I could.
Sorry, I should have called for
I think about 30% of the names on the petition are non-residents of the municipality, so I'll leave it at that.
I will say there is a Tri-Township Arena board, which I sit on, Councillor Hipple and Councillor Derbyshire. That arena is used exclusively for rollerblading activities all summer long. So it has as much activity in the summer as it does in the winter, with an artificial floor of whatever makeup, some sort of a plastic or a vinyl floor that goes in it. So there are opportunities in this community for better than skating on cement, actually, down at Tri-Township Arena. With that, motion to receive has been seconded. All in favor of that motion? Thank you. That passes. Next item, 8.1, is motions, and Councillor Derbyshire, you have a motion in front. I will leave it up to you if you want to read it, or if you just want to acknowledge that it's properly put in front of council, is fine with me.
It is properly, the information there is correct.
Thank you. So it's properly in front of council. If nobody wants it read, we'll just move along. I turn it over to you, Councillor.
do you need,
Do you want to comment on it?
do I need to put the motion forward though and then get it seconded?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I will put this motion forward. I don't, unless you want me to read it.
No, I don't think we need it read, it's lengthy. Is there a seconder to the motion? Councillor Wilson, thank you. I'll put it back over to you for comment, thank you.
Thank you. This is not, what I want to understand is this is not an attack on our fire department. I believe they're doing a good job. What I'm trying to look at is when we talk about the downloading from the province, this is one of the things that has been downloaded to the municipality from the province. So all I'm looking for is some clear numbers so that we know, if you read the purpose of the report is to provide council with factual information to better understand the operation and financial impacts of firefighter certification requirement on municipalities. So I'm just looking for that so that we have an idea of what we're spending to certify people, what the retention is of these people that we are certifying, you know, so that we as a municipality have an idea of this. I've looked on the internet, I've looked through Ontario records, this, that, I cannot find where they're actually tracking any of this. Not just us. Province-wide, this isn't being tracked. So, I'm not too sure, you know, whether this involves the finance department, obviously, and the fire department, if this is something that, you know, we could possibly look for. I'm not looking for it to be back anytime soon. I just think, you know, at some point, it would be nice to have an idea of what this is costing the municipality.
Any other comments, Councillor Wilsey?
Just to add to that, I'd spoken with previous chief of the fire department of Strathroy-Caradoc, and this was on their radar to put something in where it didn't happen, but it was a discussion I had with him about other municipalities, and he thought that they were going to look at doing it here. Never actually went forward, but some sort of policy where just related to this and the amount of charges if a firefighter got fully trained and then left to get a full-time firefighter position immediately after within a few months or a set period of time. And it's a policy that would be consistent with other municipalities. This would just give us information to know if that's something that we would want to do or not. I'm not saying we should or shouldn't, but more information is good, which is one of the reasons I seconded the motion.
Councillor Pammer?
I'm not sure who could answer the question, but the firefighter 1 and firefighter 2 certification, is that a requirement or is that optional if you are with our fire department? No, let me rephrase that. Is that a provincial standard that has to be met? That's what I'm trying to say. In other words, we don't have a choice. If someone wants to be a firefighter in the municipality, then we have to provide them with that training. Is that correct?
Deputy Chief?
Through Chair to Councillor Pammer, it is a legislation that has been passed down from the province, so it's Ontario Regulation 343-22. So all firefighters are certified to the same standard, and then it specializes from there.
Thank you. Councillor Pammer, follow up?
So then it is a requirement or a kind of expense of doing business, so to speak. So based on that, I guess my question is to Councillor Derbyshire, what would we do with this information? It's not like we could cut back on it or not do it. It might be interesting, but I'm not sure how it would be, in what way it would be helpful.
Councillor Derbyshire?
So at this point, we all say that the province downloads all this on us, which this is a province download, but we don't have an idea what it's costing us. We don't have what a retention is, and we don't know the amount of time that these people are putting in now to be certified. Is that a problem with the recruitment of this? Because the amount of hours needed now to do this, we're not getting the people to come out. Again, I go back to, when we go back to negotiate with the province over everything, if you don't know your numbers and you just go, well, you're downloading all this on top of us, without the numbers and the facts and the information, you can't really make a great presentation to them and say, this certification program has cost municipalities hundreds, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. Who's making up for that, you know? And the retention aspect of it is, we put this money out, and in 2.5 years, someone goes and becomes a professional firefighter in a town, city that has a professional force. This has nothing to do with the firefighters. I'm not picking on this at all. This is simply a financial information package so that we know what this has cost us, so that if we ever have a chance to present and say, here's what this program that your download on us cost us. You know, and the other thing is with the retention of recruitment, if you go and say this course has now made it so nobody wants to join because they're putting in 14 hours a week to get to this point. Maybe instead of doing it in 2 years, can this program be extended over 4 or 5? Like, is there more ways to work around this? But without any information or anything, we can't help do anything. So that's.
Thank you, Councillor Pelkman.
Yeah, I had the same questions as Councillor Pammer. My thought was that I don't feel like we have the resources to do this, and I don't think looking at our own municipality in isolation to others would be that helpful. People quit and drop out or enter for a large number of reasons, and I feel like this would be better done through a provincial association rather than our own service and our own staff members trying to put this report together, because I feel like the personnel time to try and go back and interview everyone as to why they left and find out for the real reasons, that would be a substantive amount of time to get that done.
Councillor Derbyshire.
Let me clarify, sorry. I don't want you to go back and interview anybody. If you don't know why they left, then that's why they left. There's a bunch of Facebook postings saying, thank you for your 2 years and good luck in your next job at blah, 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 fire service. Don't go back and interview everybody that left, all this other stuff. This is a simple, what I really want to know is what's it costing us to train these people? How are we making out with retention and where it's going? If you don't think it's valuable information, that's fine. I just thought it's something that when we sit down and talk about how the province is downloading on us, here's an easy way to figure out what this kind of cost us as a download.
Your Worship, you had, I think I saw your hand up at one point in time. Was I correct, or did you want to speak?
No, thank you, Chair. Councillor Pammer actually asked the question I wanted to ask. So
Thank
I
you.
put my hand down after I heard her question.
Thank you. If there's nothing else, Councillor Brennan?
Over the years, there has been some discussion at times at council about how our fire department trains up our volunteers to a pretty high level of competence, and then we lose young recruits to large municipal services. And I guess the question has been asked in the past, are we just acting as sort of a training facility for larger municipal permanent fire departments in other parts of the province? You know, that's been kicked around a bit. The idea is that the people who are going to be working as volunteers in our municipality need the training no matter what. They have to be trained, and the legislation says that we have to do it. The fact that we sometimes lose really good recruits to go to permanent locations somewhere else kind of, I mean, rubs some people, you know, the wrong way in terms of spending dollars. You know, but in the meantime, we get really good volunteers. They do a really good job. They come to a high level of efficiency, but then we lose them to somebody else. And you say, well, good for them because, you know, they're getting a good job somewhere else, and that's fine. Then we just train up some more. But as Councillor Pammer says, I think this is kind of a provincial phenomenon, and I think that, you know, it would be interesting to find from a provincial standpoint how volunteer firefighter group municipalities such as our own, you know, can we ask the province to be somehow compensated for the amount of time and money we spend training up the volunteers who then go to other locations? You know, it's almost like we're a college or something like that. I have no problem knowing what our numbers are, but I don't know what the end result of having that information will be. Will it be to, you know, ask the province for compensation? Because we certainly can't stop training these people, and we certainly can't tell them they can't go to another municipality if they wish. So it might be nice to have all of this information. I just don't know what we're going to do with it when we get it. Thank you.
And I'm just going to say, one of the problems with information is that it's never fully complete, because nobody has mentioned that we have people in our community that are full-time fire department in a city, but are living in our community and are volunteering for us in their off time and bring enormous expertise over that way, so we benefit there. And I believe that we've had some people that we've trained that went and got full-time jobs in nearby cities and maintained volunteer status here again. So it could be a very difficult process of deciphering the numbers. It would be interesting, but it comes down to time management. Councillor Derbyshire, it's your motion, you can have the final say.
Thank you. So then, I guess what I will say is, if you want, I will pull out number C that says the number of volunteers or unpaid firefighters who have left the service. Like, we seem to have gotten hung up on the fact that I've asked to know how many have left and gone to a city, as opposed to what we're actually spending on the certification program. And I know we all say, what's this information for? Again, I've seen the fire department here put together programs like the Bunkie program, and then other municipalities went, oh my gosh, that's a great program. We're actually going to do another program here coming up next week, where we sit down and go over the fire code with the fire department, where they included the OFA. So maybe we become leaders in knowing exactly what our costs are, and going around and saying, hey, you know what, we looked at it, it's costing us this, what's it costing your municipality? That's more where I see this going. So if you want to take out, you know, how many have left us and what our retention is, fine. I'm okay with that too. My point was more to figure out what this download from the province has cost us, or is costing us. That's what I was trying to figure out. I just thought if we knew how many kind of moved and left and what we're paying for to send that way, that's fine. But like again, the motion's there. If you would like C removed, somebody make that. I won't object to it, and we can move forward. If you don't, that's fine too.
Any other comments? None? So we have a properly seconded motion. It is the one in front of you. All in favor? Opposed? Opposed has it. The motion failed.
That's fine.
Number 9, sorry, I keep turning the mic off. Number 9, regular council meeting minutes of December 15th be approved as written. Motion, Councillor Kennis, seconded Councillor Palmer. All in favor? Carried. Consent agenda. Recommendation. Is there anything in the consent agenda 10.1, 10.2 that anybody wants to remove? Councillor Kennis.
Just want to talk about 10.1.4 for a second.
10.1.4, okay. And just one moment, I'm gonna see if there's anything else being removed. Anything else that somebody wants to remove? None. So can we have a motion then that we receive items in 10.1 inclusive, or 10.1, .1, .2, .3, and .5, and all items in 10.2 for information? That motion to receive all of those, except the one that we pulled up. Councillor Pelkman, Councillor Brennan, all in favor? Thank you, that carries. Councillor Kennis, you have 10.1.4.
I just want to address this for a second and see where we take it from there. It's a letter from a resident regarding support of the Conservation Authority, or changes to the Conservation Authority throughout the province, and I think we've discussed that on a few occasions in November, December. Her letter specifically talks about the Upper Thames Conservation Authority, which our municipality is also is a part of, but I guess we really don't talk about that one too much because we don't have representation on that board. But anyway, there's a form letter resolution that has been passed by a number of municipalities and other organizations, and actually we have it as 12.1 on our agenda coming up. Mrs. Frank is asking us to send out this resolution. We talked about it at the last meeting in December. I spent some time on it. I think the hesitancy has been on our part. John and I, Councillor Brennan and I sit on the St. Clair. Councillor Hipple sits on the Lower Thames Conservation Authority. The hesitancy in us recommending sending this out is because the legislation passed a few months ago, and I guess our thinking is it's not going to change anyway. But certainly one of our residents is asking us or asking us to consider sending out this resolution, and so when it comes up at 12, I guess we have the opportunity to make a motion to send out that resolution or not. And but I just want to acknowledge the letter from Mrs. Frank about her concerns on it as well. So
thank you. If there's nothing else, we'll just have a motion then to receive 10.1.4. Councillor Pelkman, Councillor Kennis, second. Thank you. All in favor? That passes. Communications 12.1, Conservation Authority Resolution. Recommendation is that a copy of the attached resolution be sent to the Ontario Minister of Environment, Conservation and Parks, to the local MP and local MPPs, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, the Rural Ontario Municipal Association, and municipalities and conservation authorities in Ontario. That's the recommendation that has been brought before us. There is a document attached. Anybody to make that recommendation? Councillor Kennis. Anybody to second that recommendation? Councillor Pammer. Discussion. Councillor Kennis.
Just to speak on this again, you know, it doesn't hurt for us to send this out. I think we are, especially those of us involved with conservation authorities now, are concerned about it. And I guess the letter from Melanie Frank kind of illustrates as well. We have no representation on the Upper Thames, so we don't even think about that one really. So that's what it's going to be like for us on all of the conservation, on the one new large conservation authority, because those boards are going to be filled by people out of large communities, probably not small communities like ours. So anyway, it doesn't hurt for us to send it out.
Councillor Brennan.
Yes, I would agree, even though the ship may have already sailed on the fate of the current Conservation Authority organization scheme that we have. I think we can send a message with this. Something I think that maybe is not mentioned this, but it may come through if enough rural municipalities send these out, is that the new incoming structure is, as we've said already around this table, I think is largely going to be dominated by large metropolitan and urban centers. And that the rural voice of conservation in Ontario, I think, may be diminished by the route that they're taking. So if any of this can help bring it to the attention of the government that the rural voice in conservation, it needs still to be heard, this might help. So the more rural municipalities who pass such items, it may make that impression and make an argument that in the new organizational scheme of things, that they may have to make accommodation for the rural voice.
Thank you. I will just say, and I see your hand coming up, but I was going to make a comment. So I'm very much swayed by Councillor Brennan and Councillor Kennis on this, because you're the two councillors that bring this information back to us, and you sit on the conservation area boards. And Councillor Hipple was with us earlier, and she sits on the other conservation area board. So you know, from my point of view, I really, other than reading the legislation and we're hearing it in the news and it's already passed, I don't know if it's really a good idea or a bad idea, or I don't know the intricacies of everything that's going on. So I feel it's hard for me to say we should send a letter or not send a letter. So I think I'm really deferring over to the two councillors that have more knowledge on this than I, and following your guidance. I'll leave it there. Councillor Wilsey.
I guess I'm looking at this, normally when we get a recommendation, it's either brought up by a councillor or the mayor or the CEO or someone is presenting it to us. It's not just brought up, and then when I read the attachment, it's not signed, there's no names on it, it doesn't say council of, it's just, looks like it's copy and pasted from something else. So I guess my question is twofold. Was it CAO or the mayor that put it on the agenda, because they're the only ones that can put it on it? And is the mayor or somebody willing to sign this and put their name on the bottom and to send it through? Because when we send it through without a signature and without, just as is, I don't think it holds as much weight as if it's signed or adopted. It might not have a lot of weight with provincial anyways. But I don't know how it got on the agenda and if the mayor would be willing to sign it.
Well, I think the motion of council would be to, that then allows them to sign, the mayor and or the CAO. But the question as to how it ended up on the agenda, Madam Clerk.
Through you to Councillor Wilsey. So this was actually brought up at our December meeting, and I believe it was Councillor Kennis who asked that this resolution be forwarded and supported by council, but there was no official motion made at that meeting, and that's why it's been brought back to make it official, so then we can actually forward it on to the province.
I think that answers both questions for you, correct? Councillor Wilsey? Yeah, okay, great. I just wanted to make sure before we move down. Councillor Derbyshire? Oh, and I see the mayor up too.
No, I'm just gonna say, I agree with what the clerk said, but, yes, Councillor Wilsey, if council passes it, I will sign it. Anything that council passes, I sign.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Councillor Derbyshire.
Thank you. So I'm maybe gonna take a little different take on this, being that I understand where we're coming from with we still wanna maintain some control and say over what we're doing. As a rural farmer, I've had lots of fun with the Conservation Authority. I hate to say it, but I am glad the province has reeled their horns in. It was hard to work around a lot of things in agriculture when your place has a conservation or watershed or waterway that they have care and control over. So to me, if we can get to somebody that understands, and I realize we keep saying the rural voice, but honestly, I don't feel like we were ever really represented from a actual rural standpoint on it. Most farmers are, we want to maintain our land and keep it nice and strong and environmentally friendly. And it just felt like there was an awful lot, it feels like there's an awful lot of regulations on stuff we own. So if this changes it to where, you know, we have a broader look at the whole thing from a standpoint, then I'm for consolidating if that helps control cost.
Thank you. So we have a seconded motion on the floor. It is to forward the document that is prepared and in front of you. So all in favor of that motion? 4. Opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that motion is tied, and I believe that's a fail. I'm correct on that, according to the clerk. That motion fails. Reports from departments. 13.1, Financial Services. Director, are you reporting on this one?
I certainly am. Thank you, Chair. So before you is our annual interim tax bylaw. So this allows us to go out and get the interim tax bills in the mail. So we look at 50% of last year's taxes as the baseline to issue that. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions? I think this is a standard procedure we follow every year. No questions? There's 2 motions in front of us. that 2026 interim tax levy be no more than 50% of the total taxes for the municipality and school board purposes levied for 2025, and further, that bylaw number 05-26 authorizing the 2026 interim tax levy be forwarded to the consideration of bylaw section of the agenda for approval. Somebody to make the motion, Councillor Pelt and Councillor Kennis. And you have a question also?
I do. In the first part of that motion, should it not also be included in the county? The municipal, county, and school board purposes?
Yeah, so we have an amendment to the first part of the recommendation where it says total taxes for municipal, comma, county of Middlesex, to be specific, and school board purposes. We good with that? That was you and Councillor Kennis. You're okay with that? So that is now the motion in front of you. It's just a clarification. All in favor? That's passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Community Services, South Grove Meadow Park. Recommendation that council approve Park and Water Limited to supply and install playground equipment in Ward 2 at Lindsay Crescent and Elwood Street for a value of $453,422.35 excluding HST. We'll put that motion on the floor and then we'll have the presentation. Somebody to make the motion. Councillor Peltman, seconded by Councillor Kennis. And would that be you, Mr. Littlehorn?
Through the chair to the chair.
Me.
It'll be Manager Dowding.
Oh, there we go. Geez, I was going to give you opportunity to talk tonight. Manager Dowding, you're up.
Thank you, Chair and Council. Before I use a report tonight for the approval of the installation of playground and equipment at South Grove Meadows Park. We've been working back and forth with Park and Water. Went through a bunch of public open house meetings to come up with a really good plan for this site. So seeking approval tonight for this park to move forward.
Well written and very informative. We have a properly seconded motion on the floor and comments from Councillor Peltman.
Yes, thank you. I have two questions. One which was answered for me before the meeting, but I thought the public should hear the answer to that too. And the second one I did not ask before, but I'm sure I can get the answer. So there are a significant amount of pathways on the map, and my question was, will those pathways be built as part of this process with this funding?
Manager?
Through the chair to Councillor Pelpin, yes, indeed, they'll all be installed at the same time. So there's a full ring wraparound as noted in the site plan drawing.
Thank you. And my second question, unfortunately I wasn't able to attend the second meeting, but the first meeting I was at was very well attended. And there was a lot of discussion about the grove of trees. And so I'm just wondering what's happening with the grove of trees, because as I'm looking at the sidewalk map, that's going through the grove of trees.
Through the chair to Councillor Pelpin, staff will be bringing in a certified arborist to do a full site assessment on that grove of trees to establish any hazards, potential hazards, and to ensure that those are rectified prior to any of the pathway being installed.
So that it will, for the most part, remain standing?
As long as they're a healthy tree, they'll remain standing, yes.
Mayor Grantham?
No, just a comment and follow up. Councillor Bogman mentioned he was at the first session. I'm just going to congratulate staff because I understand this is the first time you've had such an extensive consultation process with the community. And both were well attended, and I think it may have lengthened the process a little bit, but the buy-in from the public was tremendous. So just, Darren, thank you. I know you did a lot of the work on it. Thank you for the process.
Well done. Councillor Wilsey?
My question is just on the trees, and it's more of a comment that staff can look at. I know we've seen a couple reports have come through lately because of some fast-growing trees that developers have put in parks where we've had to take them out just because they grow fast, they have invasive roots. Just hoping for this one that we can look at preferably native species, but also ones that are maybe more slow-growing and less prone to wind damage or other damage, and try to bring back some native habitat for our bugs and everything as well.
Good point. Councillor Derbyshire.
Thank you. I just had a question on the funding, and I could be wrong. I just thought as part of that budget, I realized we had 500 in there. I thought we split some of this to take the money down to the other side of Mount Bridges there, Campbellville. I thought that discussion happened. I could be wrong. I thought we had set aside this, and then we thought we weren't going to get this project going, so we pulled money back out of this project and put 100,000 towards the drainage revitalization of that one. What was going to be a park down there, but I think we just did a drain through it. I could very well be wrong. I thought that's how we kind of paid for that park down there, because this one wasn't going to get done as.
Director Littleborn seems to have some information on this.
Through the chair to Councillor Derbyshire, if my memory serves me correct, there was a motion to put $500,000 towards this park, and then we identified that there was already $250,000 earmarked for this park, and then so we took it to 500,000, and then there was, I believe, 250,000 allocated for a park in Campbellville. We are currently at the stage where we've engaged some engineers to help us with the design with regards to drainage. Once that gets resolved, then we'll be looking at how we can move ahead with what may go into that park in Campbellville.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that the 500,000 was there. That I just when my recollection of it was, I knew we were moving money and jockeying, and I just wanted to make sure it was there and not somewhere else.
There we go. So we have a properly seconded motion. Any other comments? I don't see any. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Great, thank you. Engineering and Public Works, a report on water wastewater rates. And that would be Director Ortiz, I believe.
Yeah, thank you. Through the chair to council. So before you is a report presenting the proposed water wastewater rate increase for 2026. The rate increase follows the rate study completed in 2024. We're currently in the second year of a 5-year plan. Proposed 5.4% combined water wastewater rate increases on the table, which works out to about $72 per year for the average household. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
We'll have the motion in front of us. We'll get that up first. Recommendation that bylaw number 03-26- water and wastewater use rates for 2026 be referred to the consideration of bylaw section of the agenda for approval. Is that the only? It seems like I missed something. Did I turn the page too quick? No, that's it. I'm going to take questions first because that's kind of an all final motion. So is there any questions on that before we put that on the floor? Councillor Wilson.
A couple of comments. I brought these up when we did the water and wastewater study before, is that with the water rate only going up by 2%, our cost on water from the Lake Huron supply is going up by 5%. So by only going up by 2%, we're actually eroding our reserve contributions by 3% per year. We did that last year. We'll continue to do that for the next 3 years. 3% per year. By the time that compounds, that gets to be around 18-ish% drop in our reserve contributions per year on our water bill. So as long as council's fine with that, we're good with that. The other point to look at is we didn't talk about the commercial rates, which are going up 18 and 19% respectively. So we are, on our largest users, increasing their water rates by more than 18% this year after we did the same before. So some of our largest users, we're getting rid of a discounted rate for them. But as you can imagine, if employers have multiple plants and we're raising their rates by 20%, if they're going to put more water or more production or more of the high value, high asset employees that we want in this municipality, if we're going to raise their water rates by 15 to 20% per year, and that's the plan for 5 years, we're going to have to do something to counteract that to keep those skilled jobs here.
Well, that's a comment. Did you have a question for the director on that as to why or anything, or that's just a comment you wanted to make?
These are the same questions I asked during the water and wastewater. We can. I was told it was in the study. I'm not going to get a different answer here, so there's not really a question.
Can I jump in,
Yep.
Chair?
Yes, your worship.
Sorry, I didn't know if you saw me.
I didn't, I did not at the time, but yeah.
I asked the same question earlier, and just for clarity, not that matters, Councillor Wilsey. I reached out to Andrew Henry, the rate they're passing on municipalities is 4.5, but I did ask the same question, Councillor. I did notice the 2%, so I was asking for how that kind of is playing out. So we're getting a 4.5% increase, but the water rate's going up 2%. So I was looking for clarity on that myself.
Seems to be a question, so Director Ortiz.
Thank you, through the chair, and to the mayor and Councillor Wilsey. Happy to provide some context on that. So we are proposing a 2% rate increase on the water side. As part of the rate study, we've looked at the current reserve balance on the water side, as well as annual contributions, and we're in a very healthy position currently on the water side. On the wastewater side, that's why we have a higher rate increase. We're entirely comfortable with the 2% rate increase to effectively providing some cost savings to water users compared to the London rates. So we're comfortable with that currently and into the near future.
Okay. Thank you, Director. Councillor Peltman?
Yes, thank you. Through you to the Director. So the third tier block customers with that rate increase. So I understand that historically our rates were somewhat based on drawing water out of the ground, but now we pay for water like a box of craft dinner that, you know, a liter is a liter and you're purchasing a product. So the third tier block of customers, are they paying in excess of what a liter of water costs, or are they doing a little bit of catch up here to get to where it costs us to purchase the water?
Director.
Thank you. Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Pelkman. To be clear, we are not selling water for less than we pay. We are selling water for more than what we pay. We're just letting the cost of water catch up a little bit to what we're currently charging consumers. So in 2026, we are still going to be contributing in the order of $3 million into the reserves on the water side.
Councillor Derbyshire?
Just when we talk about the reserves and contributing to the reserves, I do realize the water side does have a healthy reserve, which we have pegged, and I don't know if it's been approved or not, but we've pegged to use or borrow those reserves to pay the wastewater, which I realize user fees have to cover this user program, but really and truly 3.8 and 3 million going back into a reserves that are going to be darn near depleted with some still major projects coming up when we look at the town revitalization pipes, that kind of stuff. Are we really, are we putting enough back in here to get this going back to where we're going to need it? Or is it going to be a big bang to those ratepayers down the road, as opposed to moving up maybe a little higher than 2%? I just, when I look at it, 2% does seem pretty low in the grand scheme of all of it, and I know people are going to say, Councillor Derbyshire, we pay enough, but if we don't have enough to do the projects, then we borrow and move forward. But are we putting enough back into these reserves for what we're going to take out here in the next 2 to 3 years?
Director Ortiz.
Thanks. Through the chair to Councillor Derbyshire. With the transfers that we have going into the water reserves, again, we're pretty comfortable with the amount going in and the capital projects that are on the books currently. So in the rate study in 2024, the full capital program was taken into account, and that is factored into the rate that is in front of you today. I'll also add that with the significant funding announcement that happened on Friday on the wastewater project in Strathroy, That's going to have a pretty significant material impact on the level of debt that the region or the municipality is going to have to take on. And that's a huge positive for the Strathroy-Caradoc. So that'll have a positive impact on the debt and the amount that we're going to need to borrow from the water side. So one more reason to make us comfortable with the current rate increase in front of us.
We do have a recommended motion, bylaw number 03-26, water wastewater user rates for 2026 be referred to the consideration of bylaw section of the agenda for approval. Councillor Brennan, Councillor Kennis, any other questions, comments? Not seeing any. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. County Council report from December 9th. So at that meeting, he's councillor at County Council, our mayor, was put on the budget committee, and they brought the budget to a successful conclusion at our last meeting, I believe it was. There were 2 new safety zones created in the county, one out on County Road 49 near Northdale Central School, and the other one at the ballpark, in the vicinity of the ballpark in Kerwood on County Road 6. Other sites were considered, but were not brought in at this point in time. Interesting conversation. So there is the Middlesex County Employment Land Readiness Program, which is a subset of the Middlesex County Loan Program. And this initiative that County Council has approved is to make available monies currently sitting in a reserve in the amount of $13.9 million for the early stage pre-service planning and technical work required to bring employment lands closer to a developable state. So this is a new use for that Middlesex County Loan Program, opening it up to start doing industrial land development and getting it with kind of services in the ground or ready to go. So that was approved at County Council. Any questions on that? I probably can't answer a lot more than that anyways, but go ahead. Councillor Pelkman, sorry.
Not really a question, but a comment on that last piece. I can think of 2-3 pieces of land that could potentially benefit from that program in our municipality. One would be on Queen Street, York Street across from the Canadian Club, because that property is not serviced, but we would have to extend those services down, I believe, about 300 to 400 meters. The second would be we require a street on the north end industrial section on the property that we have left. That would be similar to what went in beside Norterra, but down on the other end where the eggplant is going. And the third would be if we deemed it necessary, across from the cookie plant in Mount Bridges, if we deem that to be land that would be appropriate for light industry, to service that as well. So just throwing that out there, plant the seed for council to think about what projects we could potentially apply for, because that's we would have to pay back to principal, but it's free money otherwise. So
yes, that's correct. Yeah. Okay, so we'll move on from that. Back to my book. Announcements and inquiries by members. Councillor Kennis, do you want to start us off?
It'll be quick.
Okay.
I just, the last couple of weeks, the freezing and thawing makes things very slippery, and I just remind, especially older people like myself, that we need to be careful when we're walking on sidewalks and stuff. My wife and I both took a flip on the same day on the ice, and it just be cognizant of it, because it's, just be careful out there. So,
Councillor Wilson?
Yep, nothing tonight.
Thank you. Councillor Brennan?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Pelkman?
Yes. you know, there's a fair degree of sickness going around the community right now. I know I experienced some of it myself, and it sure packs a wallop. So I just, to be a good neighbor, if you are aware, especially if you have a neighbor who lives by themselves, widow or widower, please pay attention, and if you don't see them for a bit, make sure they're okay. Check in on your neighbors and make sure everybody's good and healthy, because there's nothing worse than being dehydrated and potentially having some devastating consequences because somebody didn't check in on you. So everyone be good neighbors and check in on them.
Councillor Derbyshire.
Sorry, I was trying to look it up. I do have one announcement. I do believe it is January 26th at 2 or 6 o'clock. We are hosting the, at the fire hall, they are hosting the introduction of the new fire code for agricultural buildings and farms and places. So just hopefully everyone got that memo that needs it, and if not, I believe it's online and we can you can sign up there. So that again is at our new fire hall, where they are going to give a tour to everyone there too. So you'll get to see the fire hall and come out and learn what the new code is and how we kind of deal with that. So that was it.
Councillor Pammer.
Yeah, just another note on the cold weather and the even colder weather forecasted, to remind people that the public library has access as a warming facility, as well as I believe the arenas, when they're operational, people could come in for a short period to get some relief from the cold. But if that's not sufficient, also at the library we have the community navigator, who you could reach out to if you're concerned that you won't have shelter after the library closes. Also, we have some great organizations in town, including 37 Frank Street, who could help some youth if they feel like they don't have suitable shelter in this cold weather. So just a reminder to anybody listening, if they know of anybody, there are resources in the community, and we would encourage people to take advantage of that, especially during this cold time.
Your worship.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Mount Roma, and today the Premier spoke. It wouldn't be any great shock that, you know, municipal politicians were all stripes, right, left, center. But the Premier did a pretty good job of uniting all of us today when he took some pretty good shots at President Trump. He gave if you get a chance to watch it or read about his comments, he was rather aggressive in his comments. I think that caught a lot of people by surprise how aggressive he was, but that part was greatly received by the entire audience. I just thought I'd point that out. It's hard to unite municipal politicians around any one thing, but bring up President Trump, and I think everybody agrees. So that's that, Deputy Mayor. Good job tonight.
Thank you, Your Worship. A couple of things I wanted to bring up. I think I've mentioned it here before, but Middlesex County Council and staff are prepared at the end of this year, or preparing for the end of this year, when we will move into a new governance building. And we will be vacating the current county building, which is downtown London. It's the old castle. If you're not aware of it, you should make yourself aware of it. It's one of the most historic buildings I've ever been able to get into. I've put it out there before. I've taken a few people through it. It has the original jail, cells downstairs in it, the courtyard. Not the best weather to see it right now, but certainly in the spring for staff, groups in the community, I would do my best to facilitate getting people into that building on a tour, and time is running short to get into that historic building. It never ceases to amaze me, and I go in it every 2 weeks. I also received some documentation from, I believe it's the Groundhog Day in Melbourne, which I think is associated to the Legion group. I just don't have that in front of me, but either way, they're doing their Groundhog Day celebrations. There is a breakfast on the Sunday prior to Groundhog Day, and then Groundhog Day bright and early is the ceremony. I suspect that His Worship will be down there for that. Was also recently contacted by Paul Gilpin, a friend of mine, former colleague in policing. He's with Mount Burgess Lions, and once again, he's trying to sell me tickets to Farmers Night on March 5th, so always well attended by council members and staff members. Hope to see lots of people out. It is one of those events that you just gotta go to believe, but it is an amazing evening and a great meal. Other than that, I think that's about all I had to say. With that, we move over to consideration of bylaws. Bylaw number 0326, bylaw 0526, and bylaw 0926 receive first, second, third, and final reading. Somebody make the motion. Councillor Kennis, Councillor Brennan, all in favor? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Schedule of meetings. Special meeting at council on Monday, January 26th, starting at 4:30 p.m. There is a strategic priorities meeting on Monday, January 26th at 5 p.m. Those are taking, the first one take place in council chambers. The second one is in the committee room next door to us. Regular council meeting Monday, February 2 at 6 p.m. with a closed session starting at 5 p.m. Special council meeting on Wednesday, February the 11th, 2026 at 5 p.m. in council chambers. And then the regular council meeting of Tuesday, February 17th, 2026 at 6 p.m. with a closed session starting at 5 p.m. Recommendation that the January 19th, 2026 regular council meeting adjourn at 7:55 p.m. Councillor Kennis, Councillor Pelkman, all in favor? There we go. Thank you very much. Have a great evening, everyone.